Hey, what's going on, guys? Back here on YouTube with my epic return, and I'm here with my beautiful girlfriend Sue.
Hello.
Hey, so we're gonna review Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, and this is like a great way to come back because this is one of my favorite film franchises of all time. And despite them saying it being like a box office failure, it wasn't a bad movie. I think it was a pretty good entry. Maybe not the best. I think I still prefer Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which came out 15 years ago. What would you say? Which one do you prefer?
I mean, I thought this one was pretty good.
Yeah, I think alright, one of the things that I will say is Helena, which is Indy's goddaughter, which is played by Phoebe Waller-Bridge. For me, she's kind of like a mixed bag. I don't know, she's combative with Indy. Sometimes, I don't know, she could be a little bit annoying, I would say. She kind of reminds me of Temple of Doom with Kate Capshaw. I think she's a little bit better than that. She's not damsel in distress screaming all the time, getting annoying that way, but I wasn't crazy about her compared to Shia LaBeouf. I think his performance, I was more satisfied with his character, and we learn later on the reason why he's not in this one is he's killed off screen, because this movie actually takes place in 1969 during Vietnam, so they kill him off screen. He's talked about. This is supposed to be the reason why Indy and Marion are getting a divorce. So I mean, he can't be in the movie. I understand that. So they're going with another character. What did you think of her performance? Did you like her character, the goddaughter?
I kind of agree with you. She was a little annoying at times. I mean, she wasn't terrible, but
Yeah, not terrible at all. I mean, definitely a competent performance, but it's not the most memorable. I felt they could have gotten somebody better for this role. Somebody better suited. Just it wasn't really hitting for me. Not that I hate her or anything or nothing like that, but it's more just the performance could have been a little bit stronger. Her and Indy, they're like I said, combative. They're playing off of each other. It could be a little funny, but it definitely could have been better. I felt like they could have gotten a better actress. I can't really think of anybody off the top of my head. Can you that would have been better suited for that role? Maybe
not really off the top of my head, but yeah, she was mediocre, honestly.
Yeah, that's what I
her
would say.
performance.
Definitely could have done better in that department. The villain, which is Voller, Mads Mikkelsen. I mean, I think he was okay.
Yeah.
Not an epic villain that you're gonna remember. I can't really think of any big moments in here. I'm wow, this is a great, intimidating villain. I don't know. I guess I think of back to Raiders and stuff, and the villains are a little bit more over the top. He wasn't really over the top, and that might be a good thing to some people. It kind of depends on what you're going for. I kind of sometimes prefer villains to ham it up a little bit, and he played it very straight. Which I get it, but this is gonna be the last Indiana Jones movie supposedly, until they decide to remake it or something and reboot it, which I'm sure is gonna happen. Hopefully not for another 20 years. I'll be we'll be old and we'll be can you believe they're remaking this movie? We'll be as old as Indy and Marion here, and we'll be criticizing whoever they put in Indiana Jones role, in the Harrison Ford role. But I mean, yeah, this is kind of the theme for this movie. I think it was serviceable. It was good. But that's I don't know. When I see Indiana Jones, I kind of expected to be a little bit more than good. Especially, with all the criticism towards King of the Crystal Skull. It's now people are really seeing oh, that movie really wasn't that bad. You know, Shia LaBeouf actually was pretty decent because you don't really see people being too positive about this film. I actually remember, like, I forgot this movie was even coming out.
Yeah, I didn't know either.
There was, like, very poor promotion for this. Like, you watch videos on YouTube, and usually you're used to seeing, like, the most popular movie, like the Barbie movie. You know that's coming out.
Yes.
Like, they've got promotion all over the place. There's a restaurant in New York City, but Indiana Jones, like, it's one of the biggest Spielberg movies of all time, and maybe that might play a role because it was James Mangold instead of Steven Spielberg, and I don't think George Lucas was really involved at all. So, like, maybe that might be why. If, like, I think if Spielberg was directing this, like, you bet your ass that he's gonna make sure that he's gonna get top dollar for this. But I don't know. Like, James Mangold, like, he's supposed to be a pretty big director. He's made some good movies, so it's kind of confusing to me. Why, like, he made Logan, actually. Without, I thought that was, like, one of the best X-Men films. And, you know, so I don't know why he was so lax. Like, you would think, you know, maybe that's not his job as a director, that's the marketing team, but I don't know. People working on this movie, you'd think they'd want to get as much as they could from this, and maybe that's why it didn't do so good. Because they were predicting that this movie wasn't going to do that good in the box office. But, you know, then again, it's like, I'm not going to let that reflect how I feel about the film. I'm not going to come on here and say it's terrible just because a bunch of people also on the internet are saying, like, oh, it didn't make a lot of money. Like, why does that matter to me if it's making a lot of money? Like, I'm going to go in there. That's why I wanted to see it. Because you could just easily be like, oh, well, fuck it. I'm not going to go see this movie because it's doing poor in the box office. Like, you know, it could be the lowest grossing movie of all time or whatever. I'm still good. If it's still a good movie, I'm still going to say it. So, what probably one of the biggest things here that's going to be very jarring as soon as the movie comes on is Harrison Ford, Indiana Jones in 1944. Like, in the heat of World War II, they de-aged him. And I thought this was pretty good. They did this a lot better than in a lot of other movies because they have it at night. He's always kind of shrouded in darkness. How did you think this, like, looked? Did you like the de-age, and you thought it looked a little too fake?
I don't think it looked, like, too fake. I was a little nervous, like, how much of the movie was gonna be, like, of that, like, with the de-aging. But I think they did, like, enough where it was, you know, it was fine, and it didn't look too unrealistic to me.
Yeah, like, it's actually kind of surprising how long they kept them on screen, too. Because I actually read that they were only originally going to do 5 minutes, but then the director decided, like, let's make it into, like, a whole thing. And, you know, you might think on paper that's a bad idea because if you're going to, like, do one of these kinds of, like, tricks, you're going to want to get in and, like, get out like that. But they stayed on it for a while. And I think it actually, like, paid off. Like, I think this is a good example to other movies. And they actually said, I don't know if this is, like, inaccurate or not. They said on Wikipedia that this was actually one of the most expensive movies to make.
Probably for you know, with the de-aging, yeah.
I think that is, like, I think they used the software. And I did see, like, briefly, I didn't go through everything because, like, I'm not going to even understand, like, what software they're talking about. I know editing software. I don't know about de-aging, like, that stuff, but they said they tried a couple of different programs that, I don't know, this one seemed better to me than anything else I've seen. Like, you said it was in The Irishman with De Niro, like...
Yeah, I heard that it was, and it wasn't done very well, I believe.
Yeah, when it looks fake, it's like... And that was like... Then they're not even switching time periods in that movie, right?
I'm not really sure.
I didn't see it, because guys, like... I already told her, I'm not sitting through a 4-hour movie. I don't care if it has, like, 2 of the greatest actors of all time. Like, I'm not... 4 hours? Like, even... That's another thing we have to talk about. Because both of us, What did you think about the runtime on this movie? Like 2 hours, like 2.5 hours.
It was a little long. I feel like there were some segments that were like unneeded, maybe. Like when they went, they deep dived to get like, I forgot what it was, the tablet or something they
yeah,
for.
And it contains
like,
a piece of the dial.
Yeah, they went to like Greece. They went to like, they went to a few different countries. It was
I know what you mean.
Maybe one of those countries could have been taken out. Like,
yeah,
I
know it's kind of like one of these movies where I also like gotta be honest here. People in the comments will probably say I'm stupid, but out of like all the Indiana Jones movies, this one kind of confused me the most plot wise. Where this kind of reminded me almost. I know you've never seen a James Bond film,
right.
But I explained to you like how it is, where it's like they like already are like telling the story before the movie even begins, and you're like dropped into it, and you're always like, huh, like what, like, and you kind of like pick little pieces out. This is like how it is, like they kind of explain how the dial works, but then it's like you're not really sure of like Voller's plan. It's like why is he with the CIA? Like you kind of know he's using it, but like I don't know like how like you're supposed to just sit there and understand everything. Like like with Raiders, they're looking for the Ark. They're trying to keep it out of the hands of the Nazis, and the rest of the movies are the same thing. Like it's the Holy Grail and like the Last Crusade, but this one, like I don't know, they're like they don't do a very good job of explaining everything. It's like a big puzzle, and I don't really like that. I kind of like it to be a bit more straightforward, where I kind of know like where we're going, because it's always like, why are they going there? You're like, why are they going to Greece? Why are they deep diving? Like, what are they looking for? Like, how do they know that's down there in the first place? Like, I mean, well, yeah, and then they do the thing with the eels, because they got to get the snake thing in.
Yeah.
I don't even really remember. I was trying to think to myself, like in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, the one with Shia LaBeouf, did they have any snake things? I don't remember if they did any like of those snake jokes where he's scared of snakes.
I'm not sure.
I honestly couldn't remember, and I didn't look it up before the review. I mean, that was funny, something new with the eels. Like it's a different, like, because they're like aquatic snakes, I guess you could say. Like so, there's like good moments of humor, but I remember, like, again, Kingdom being funnier, and maybe that's why, like, because I find Shia LaBeouf, the guy might be nuts, but I always found him to be funny. He had a good sense of humor. And it's maybe, like, why I have a problem with, like, Phoebe playing Helena. Like, I feel like she's jokey and playful, but she's not really making me laugh. Like...
Yeah, I think so, too.
Like, maybe there might have been a few things between, like, her and, like, Harrison Ford, where it might have been like, there's little jokes like with the dynamite, but that's not really more like her. That's kind of just the script and like how the characters are moving throughout the plot and the scenes. So yeah, I kind of did have a little bit of a problem with her, because a big thing in every Indiana Jones movie, there's always like a character that's with him throughout the adventure. And if the character is not really doing the best job to compliment Indy, then it's kind of, it's kind of like a wasted effort in a way. So, but Harrison Ford was good. He was funny. He kind of played into that he's like grumpy because he's old, and they joke like things are hurting him, and his shoulder. So that was like pretty good to me. Like because you gotta focus on that. I mean, Harrison Ford is I said late 70s before we did this video when we researched. The man is 80, and then he's actually, what was it, July 13th?
Yeah.
He's gonna be 81 years old, and the guy looks pretty damn good.
It's impressive, actually.
Yeah, and he's still moving. I mean, obviously he's not doing the stunts and everything,
Yeah.
but just him being there and everything is like pretty impressive. I mean, this guy's had a pretty full career to say the least, and the fact that he even wants to do this movie,
Yeah.
in the first place, because he doesn't really have to do this. He could do like any movie. Like, doesn't even sound like he's going to get that big of a payday from this one based on the box office results. So, the fact he's even there, I applaud him for that. And he looks good for his age. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. So, another thing here, like we talked about King of the Crystal Skull. What's like one of the big points in that movie? The aliens. And people like cried and they bitched about that. Indiana Jones can't have aliens in it. Meanwhile, in Temple of Doom, they're ripping fucking hearts out of people's chests. Like, wow, that's really realistic. And Raiders, they're opening up the Ark of the Covenant and ghosts are coming out. People's faces are melting. But no, aliens, that's where it draws the line. The Holy Grail, whatever the villain's name is, he like takes the sip from the wrong cup and he turns into like a horrifying skeleton zombie. But no, aliens, oh, that's too far-fetched. So, like, I guess they kind of reeled it back a little bit. It's not aliens, not alien ancient invaders from years ago. It's time travel. And this is like the whole thing about Voller. He wants to go back in time and actually assassinate Hitler because he thinks he could do a better job. Which, I don't know, that's kind of like funny to me. He's like, he didn't do a good enough job. If he only he doesn't really specify like what he did wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
But I don't know, but Voller could do better. Like this one guy, I mean, I don't know. I guess like he could be more hateful or something. What can he do? Better military strategy? I don't know. Like, that's the thing. It's not even like this guy's that charismatic. I don't really feel like he could get people to listen to him. Like, that's what I mean. I'm not getting, like, dictator vibes. Like, if they wanted this, like, guy that could surpass Hitler, you'd think he'd be, like, really over the top. Like, that's what I'd be expecting from him. Not to knock this guy as an actor. I've seen his acting credits. Like, he's a competent actor. He did a good job. But he's not, like, Indiana Jones villain material. Like, that's what I mean. You remember Raiders, that guy doesn't have a lot of lines, but you look at him and he's just like, you're like, this villain couldn't exist anywhere outside of an Indiana Jones film. And of course, you've got the voodoo guy in Temple of Doom ripping people's hearts out. But anyway, they want to go back in time, obviously, to when Hitler ruled, and they want to take him out. So, but they miscalculate, and the dial takes them back to Archimedes' time. It's the what is even the name of that thing? It's the Siege of Syracuse, and not Syracuse, New York, as they make that joke. That was pretty funny. But yeah, they go back. Indy actually gets injured, gets shot, and he actually wants to stay there. And, obviously his goddaughter doesn't let that happen. So it was interesting seeing, like, time travel. What did you think about, like, time travel? Do you think this is acceptable in the indie universe, or this is sacrilege?
I mean, I think it's fine. I just, in general, like, get annoyed with time travel because it's kind of like, there's always, like, some type of plot hole with that. And even, like, where, like, they magically went to, like, the time where that, what's his name? Saccharomyces or whatever his name is?
Yeah, Archimedes.
Archimedes.
I always thought it was Archimedes.
Yeah, like they happen to go exactly to that time instead of like, yeah,
when they were
when
just talking
they were supposed
about
to go to
it.
Hitler's time, like that part was a little like okay,
I guess because the dial was from that time. But yeah, it is like coincidental. Like all these other times in history, and the dial just so happens to like land on that magic spot.
Yeah.
Like they're not going back to the times of the dinosaurs or some shit like that, or like what's the big event? The Iraq War or the founding fathers of the Civil War, something like that. They go back to the time they just so happen to be talking about and joking about with the Siege of Syracuse. And yeah, you're right. Like the plot hole thing. Like the funny thing is, like when he wants to stay behind, Helena says to him like, "Oh, it would have changed history." Like they didn't just change history having a fucking plane soaring around the skies and like he meets Indy and he talks to him.
Yeah.
And they're talking Aladdin to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And like you know, so like that didn't change history. Like Archimedes is not going to remember that.
Yeah, like that. You know, in general, like I think time travel is like very tricky, but I didn't mind it within the series. You know. In that sense.
You can't take it too seriously, but like you know, it's also kind of funny that that's the explanation that she gives when she brings him back to New York, like brings him back to 1969. She says like, "Oh, we would have changed history if you stayed there." You just changed history. Archimedes saw you. He was talking to you. He saw planes. He's not supposed to see that shit for like hundreds of years or thousands of years.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, like, yeah, he's seeing like all this advanced technology and everything. And the thing is, they give him the dial completed. So it's like, isn't that gonna fuck with something? How could that possibly not mess with history already? Like I'm saying, it's like we could sit here all day and talk about every little nuance. I mean, like, we're talking about Indiana Jones, and I just said aliens and ghosts coming out of arcs, and like, you know, self-aware boulders chasing people through like temples. Like, you know, it's supposed to be good fun and everything. So they wait like all the way to the end to show his wife Marion, and it looks like they're getting back together. And I was even saying to you, like, I like that she aged gracefully. Like, it didn't look like there's no Botox, there's no fillers or anything.
Yeah.
And also, she's not one of these people that, like, cut their hair really short. Like, like her name is Karen Allen, but she don't look like a Karen. Like,
I know.
So she looked, like, pretty good at the end there. And it's nice, you have a nice little happy ending there. He grabs the hat at the end. You know, it's kind of funny that they were thinking about, like, making it like he was going to pass the torch to Shia LaBeouf, but now he's just fucking dead.
Yeah.
Like, he's not getting that torch past him anytime soon. So, yeah, like, overall, this movie, it's got problems. It's definitely not the best. I don't know, like, where I would really rank it. Raiders is always going to be my favorite. I've always liked all of them, but I don't know. You know, it's kind of like I'd have to see them all again and really compare. For me, it was always like out of the original trilogy, it was always basically Raiders first, then Last Crusade, then Temple of Doom last. Because not that Temple of Doom was bad, but that one was always a little bit more hokier to me. I wasn't always like the biggest like fan of like the voodoo and the gross out, and like, you know, we both got grossed out when they dumped the bugs on them in this part. No. Like they reused that. Like there's these little callbacks and things like that. The big, you know, like the best parts to me were like the action. Like I really enjoyed in the beginning them on the train, and you know, like them just going through the tunnels and everything. Like that's and yeah, going back in time, like seeing that visual and everything, like that battle during those times, like there's a lot of good visuals, and based on the amount of money they spent on this, you bet your ass it better look impressive. You know, the de-aging parts, I like that they went back and forth. It kind of feels like things were coming full circle in this film, like they're getting ready to do a finale. I kind of just wonder, like, if Spielberg was in charge, maybe it would have been even better. I think it probably would have been. But based on this being a director that's never worked on Indiana Jones and George Lucas didn't like come up with the story, I gotta say it was pretty good. Not great. There's problems. You know, like I said, not crazy about who's tagging along this time for the adventure. The villain is not super over the top. Like, what would you say, like, overall about this film? Like, what's like your final verdict on it?
It was good, but you probably could have taken out at least 20 to 30 minutes of it.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, we should talk about this. I think it's definitely warranted about Hollywood, and definitely editing these films. It's like I've talked about in my past reviews on this channel about the Marvel films. Like probably the biggest one was Avengers Endgame. Like another movie with time travel in it.
Yeah.
Like it's like, just because it's time travel doesn't mean it needs to take up an excessive amount of time. Yeah, like, let's trim it down, boys. Like, this is why I'm a big fan of 80s, like, era films when it wasn't about, like, a runtime. Because to me, like, if you can't get in and get out within 90 minutes or, 2 hours,
mm-hmm.
like 2 hours max,
yeah.
like, the Indiana Jones films, they are a little bit long. I get that. It's like with the Star Wars films too, but like, you need to have enough material to fill that runtime. Stop artificially inflating it because it doesn't even make sense. Like you've already taken the person's money. It's not like this is on TV and they want to get a bunch of commercials in there. Like
mm-hmm.
you've already gotten our money. Now stop like wasting our time with like needless things because it's about pacing. Keep the story going. You don't need all this extra stuff, things that I don't know what it is. Like I remember like reading that they sometimes like certain directors would get offended because the production company would like want to cut certain things out. But now I'm sorry, there's a little bit too much artistic freedom because they're basically putting deleted scenes in these movies in my opinion. Like
basically.
And the sad thing is, you'll see, like, there's even still deleted scenes that are still to be... So, like, imagine if they didn't pull back the reins on these people. They'd be making, like, Irishman movies, like, in every single movie. And I would just effectively stop probably watching movies at that point. Like, 4-hour, 3-hour movies. Like, no. Just, to me, you really shouldn't even be getting anywhere close to a 2-hour mark. Unless you really, really need it. And yeah, like, okay, it's an Indiana Jones film. 90 minutes a little short. But, like, this one, it didn't have enough there to, like, really, like, warrant it. And it's a pacing thing. Like, you gotta keep people interested. I'm sorry, like, I know they try to say, like, oh, you just have a short attention span. It's not that. It's just, like, I'm not gonna pretend to, like, not have... like to be interested in something when it's just like needless like exposition. There's needless thought, like a needless scene, like that diving scene.
Like I don't know, I just felt like it was drawing out the plot like a little more than it needed to.
Like I have an old friend, let's go visit him, and plot divergence, like there's an extra item that we need to do to like like I get it, like the dial was inside that tablet, but like come on, there's like it doesn't even start off that way. It's like they just think it's a tablet and it happens to be inside. It's a surprise, but like I get it, like I agree with that. It's just too much going all over the place, and half the time you're saying like where are they even going? Like I felt like the characters don't even discuss the plot a lot of times. It's just like they should be. Like I get it. Like you don't want to stop the plot then say like here's what we're doing and here's where we're going. But like somehow write that into the dialogue because half the time things are just moving a little bit too fast, and it's kind of that's also kind of weird thing too because even though the movie is bloated in some parts, like you should kind of figure like if they had that amount of time that they'd have enough time to explain everything properly, but they don't get that right, so that is a big problem.
I agree.
Like cut the movies down, guys, in Hollywood. Like 90 minutes, that's where you need to like that's the sweet spot right there. Stop with the long drawn out movies. Just pace it out. Do what you gotta do, trim the fat, and, just get to the finish line. And I think people will be a lot happier that way. Because it's too much with these run times already.
Yeah.
And like if you're going to a late showing, it's like God forbid, like you want to go get dinner or something. You're like, you feel like, oh, let's get this over with already. Like it's kind of funny because it's like something that you like, but at the same time, it's like you want the conclusion to get there. It's very like it's very unsatisfying when they keep like having this like the ending on the fishing pole and they keep moving it back. Remember that's like we talked about it with the Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And I know like you don't like that movie. Like I said, like I liked it, but I even said it here when I did my review that was a movie that was bloated. Like it went 30 minutes too long.
Mm-hmm.
Like and it did. It had a false ending to it. It's almost like I said, it's like that. The guy with the fishing pole, he's like, you gotta be quicker than that. You only think that's the ending? And he moves it back. Like, instead of it being like $1 at the end of the fishing pole, it's it's the ending. Like, it's the end credits. And he's like moving it backwards. Like, so, yeah. I mean, it's definitely like, if you're an Indiana Jones fan, I say definitely go see it. If you didn't like the past Indiana Jones films, then don't even bother. Like, this is like one like strictly for fans. It's not going to change your mind. Like if you didn't like Raiders, you're definitely not going to like this one because it definitely doesn't have like the best characters in it. Like Harrison Ford, he's still great. He's always going to be one of my favorites of all time. So he delivered no problem, and like and I think he put his best foot forward in this one, considering he's been in a lot of movies. So you think he'd be like old and like tired and be like just kind of sleepwalk through it, but he's still he's still very lively in this one. He gives like a good performance. So yeah, I mean I think it's definitely time though that probably hang up the fedora. I mean like
Yeah.
we don't want to see him 90 years old going out there, but it worked though. I don't know, like I didn't feel like it was embarrassing to see him out there. Like, I don't know, it's like, yeah.
I think he did really well.
And I guess that's the thing, because the villain is, like, older also.
Yeah.
So, they're from a different time. So that was smart. So, maybe that's the thing, having an old, over-the-top villain. I'm trying to, like, give them an excuse, so you're welcome. If you I'm actually giving these filmmakers an excuse of like why the villain wasn't like your classic Indiana Jones over the top performance. But I was happy with it. I really had a good time, and I think we both did.
Yeah.
So, any final thoughts on this one?
No, it was good. It probably wasn't my favorite, but for what it was, I think it was a good movie.
Yeah, definitely like a decent one. Good, not very good. Definitely not excellent. Not one of my favorites, but it was a good one, guys. So, whoopsh, that's my whip sound. So I was gonna hit the stop button with my whip, but I missed it. So I guess I'll use my finger instead. So guys, see you next time.